Okay, so Declan, I just want to have you available with this video to help you in your practice. The trumpet is a toning instrument, and so much of skill with the trumpet is with the tone. One teacher even says, don't leave the tone. And that means that you get to experience the freedom of not having thoughts in your head and putting your attention to how it feels. So we start this with a practice that takes the lead pipe out, takes this pipe out so that we're just blowing through the lead. And it's so important that we understand how the cushion works and then how tight this has to be. There are 300 muscles in the mouth area, and what you're doing each time you do this is you get a real tight closure so air can escape on the sides, but the middle has to be a real nice cushion. So we call this the embouchure, and what we do is we create that by pulling the lips back, but keeping this area for the air to come through soft. So you create that first, pulling the lips back, creating the embouchure, and then you bring the mouthpiece to the lips without doing all this adjustment that we tend to want to do, right? Don't be restless with it. Create the embouchure, and then without moving the lips, bring the mouthpiece right to the lips. Now the trumpet is an air instrument, and what we're doing right away is we're setting the embouchure and we're putting attention to where that air is coming from. So with that lower note, we know the lower notes come from compression down lower, and we're eventually going to work to compress higher, and then as we speed the airflow that goes through the lead pipe to a higher pitch, we find that the compression is up here. What I like to do is just surrender outside of time into that tone. So you can start off by seeing how long you can go holding a steady tone and just being relaxed with it. Okay, and then as you do it more and more, you'll build up. I do this with the lower tone 4 times, and then I go from the lower to a slur up to the next pitch, from slurring from here, compressing up and holding. I do that 4 times. And then for 4 times, I'll just start right off with a higher one and hold that one. And in time, you'll be able to even go up to the next level, which I'll illustrate for you. But for now, just go with what is allowing you to keep a very relaxed cushion between your lips and the mouthpiece. So again, we take the embouchure, put it to the lips. So again, we'll do that 4 times. And after we've done that 4 times, then we go to the slur. do that 4 times. And it's always good to just give your lips just a little rest. Remember, you always want to play and rest equally. So when you do present your breath to the horn, it's important to also take a break and relax the lips and the whole body for that same amount of time. So now we'll do 4 times at the higher compression, which will be a little higher on the chest. And you'll extend that out and enjoy the energy you get from that. As you extend the exhalation, it's like a breathing exercise that gives you vitality and energy, and much like a pranayama breathing exercise. And a lot of people find this very helpful if they're stressed out, to just do a breathing exercise where you breathe in and then extend the exhalation out, so that when you do breathe back in, you appreciate it so much. And that's a critical part of life, is to just recognize the divine with each breath we get. Many have called the breath the experience of God, of the divine, the support. So we do that 4 times at the higher. And then after that, what I do is put the horn together, so that now we're ready for the full tone. And we just start on a G and go down to the lower G with half notes. Again, it takes some breath to hold it. Be a little hard to hit that low G when you're just starting off, but as your body and lips warm up, you'll be able to find that air that will give that. But just notice how where the support is coming from as you go lower and lower. You can see that the compression goes lower, and you can get more cushion on the lips with the lower note. So we start with the G. Now let's go to the F sharp. And we'll still always end on the G, but let's go now to the F, finger 1. Now let's go up to C and see if we have enough support to take it all the way down to that low G. Maybe you made it all the way down, maybe you ran out of air, but we're going to take one note away and we'll start on B, valve number 2. have air left over, just hold that lower note until you have expended all the air that you have. So this is a chromatic scale walk down, right? We're starting with we're taking each half step. Let's go to the B flat. Now, we're going to just really get to be familiar with the cushioning of the lips and how the center of the lips work as we kind of slur down. So we'll do the slur down like this. Notice I'm just kind of loosening my lips as I kind of just get that walk down. We'll go now to the B. And take that last note and extend it out as long as you can, but make it as soft and quiet as you can. Now we'll go to the B flat. To the A. Now you may notice I'm even taking it down to that next level. That may take a little while to get that very low tone, but if you can, great, because what you want is to be able to hit the low notes just like you aim to hit the high notes. You'll want a spit cloth so that you're always able to empty the water evaporation in the valve. Let's go to the G sharp, 2 and 3. Okay, so I've got some evaporation in this portion, so I have to remove this tuning valve, and I empty some of the evaporated water. And I always kind of like to hold the valves down so I'm not pushing air against this. Some have said that could be harmful. So when you are putting the valve on, just push down so that you're not pushing on the airflow inside the instrument. Now let's go to the G. Okay, so now what we're going to do is play whole notes going from, we'll start out, the first one goes from a G to an E. We're going to G, 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 E. I'll show you. Take a breath for that last one. Whatever you're doing, make sure that if you're starting to put pressure on the lip, just remove it and take a breath and then come back to the note. You don't want to try to extend it out by putting pressure on the lip, okay? That will wear it out and it will take you away from the tone. So let's do that. We're going to do that one now with the G going up to the higher F. so you'll have to see how this works for you. It may take a little while to get to that higher note for you, but that's okay. You can just kind of keep working on it, and it will come. That one, you'll really notice the difference of how the low note is here, and that higher note you're probably starting to feel it a little more up here as you speed the airflow through to get to that higher note. But again, make sure you're aware of the need for cushion so you're not pushing the mouthpiece against your lips. You might even, as you're increasing the airflow, you might even have to just tighten the corners a little bit so air doesn't escape. So next we move to G to D. Again, it's an open valve to the 1. It's a little lower, should be a little easier for you now. Each time that you do that, you need to rest your lips equally. So, as you know, we're doing whole notes, and so you can count it out, your rest time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So you can make sure that you're resting the same amount of time, or you could even have a look at your watch or a stop, just to make sure that you're giving the rest that the lips need. Kind of a nice way to take a break too. So now we'll go to G to C, open. So you've given yourself 8 measures of rest. Now we're going to go to half notes. Instead of 4, you're going to go up and down with 2, okay? Okay, so you should start really feeling the lips coming to life. Your tone should start getting a little better as you've done this preliminary warm-up. Now we're going to do a little bit of exercise that challenges how the compression moves up and down the body. And it's like this. So that's really challenging us as we slur from the lower note to the higher note. And then we can speed it up as we get better. But so open, open to 1, and then open to open. Open to 1, open, so you get a sense of what that slurring is like. We can then tongue it, Now you can pay attention to how you're creating the separation of notes. Sometimes you can do it just with the stopping of airflow. Sometimes the attack can be with how the tongue blocks and opens the airflow. So pay attention to that. Maybe play with both of them. That time I was just restricting airflow. This time I'll do it where I keep the airflow, but my tongue will stop it. It's just good to get a sense of how you can alternate those two things, and all the while too, just paying attention. So every time you touch your mouthpiece, it should be different. You should be, okay, today I'm noticing this, I'm noticing that. It's never the same. Every time you pull the horn out and make a note, a tone, it carries the memory of previous notes, and the awareness of each moment is going to take you deeper and deeper into your playing. So now that we've done up to this point, let's just go back to where we were at the beginning, but now we have much more steadiness in tone because we're just that much more awake. And we'll start with the G. So we're starting with a 2-beat note, not a full 4-note measure, but 2 beats, 2 beats down, 2 beats, 2 beats down, 2 beats, 2 beats down, and then we end on a whole note. Let's go down to the second position. Now we go to the 1 position. Down to the 1 and 2 position, E. And now to the lowest with all 3 down. At this point, you should be warmed up enough so you're hitting that low note with a little more confidence. And what I like to do is just like, what does this all feel like after that warm-up? It's like, wow, okay, I'm ready, I'm warmed up, the tone is better, now I'm ready to start working on some scale practice. And we're going to start with the major scales, and we're just going to move up in full steps. So we'll start on the C and move up to middle C. And we'll just do it with quarter notes. Take a breath. If you have enough breath to take it up and down on just one breath, that's good. But if you need breath to keep the cushion, always remove the mouthpiece, take a breath, and then reset. Now let's go down. We're going to go up to a whole step to the D, 1 and 3. Okay, now we're going to move up another whole step up to the E, which is 1 and 2. Now we're going to move up, this time just a half step. We'll just move up to the F, because that's a real common key. Okay, we'll have the 1 here. It's an easy one too, because you're just using the 1 valve in the open again. The 1 and 2 valve for the A, but otherwise it's just, and it's a pretty fast one if you want to increase your speed with it, just because the fingering is so easy. So you can play with speed on that one a little bit and start getting a feel for increasing speed for these scales. Let's go up to just, we're going to skip the middle F sharp and go right to G. And again, just, you know what to aim for with that. That's the highest scale we'll take, because that high G might be causing you to push a little on your lip, and we don't want that. So these are the beginning scales that I want you to work on. Again, we're going to start at the C, then we're going to go up to D, then we're going to go right to E, 1 and 2, and because the fingering on F is so good, we'll just start to do that one, and then we'll go right to G. Obviously, we have scales each half step of the way up, and we'll move to those in time. But for right now, I just want you to work on these. And at this point, you should be so warmed up and ready to go that if you just want to play with the song you're working on, or do something that's fun, as long as you want to, then you can do that. But this foundation warm-up and starting to get these scales in your body. And one thing I want you to know is we're going to just stay with these scales working from low to high a little bit, because for making music, you don't want to get attached to just how they come into line. Each scale is like a family, and you can play any of them when you're jamming or just trying to make music in your head, and it will sound good. So we can take the scale and just say, well, let's just play with those notes, and say, I can use any of those notes and make a song. So I'm playing a little bit with that make a song, and I'll show you how we can do that, because some people, they stay so focused on working on scales that they don't know how to break free and use the notes that are going to work together to make their own song and their own music. That's the beauty of this. You know, I started playing this when I was 8 years old, and I made a mistake and laid it down some, so I lost some depth when I laid it down, but I can say that if you are motivated and disciplined, it will be one of your best friends that you can carry. I can't say strong enough how important having an instrument is that you can always go to no matter what. No matter what happens, you can always return to the tone and know that there's something very special that is happening with that helps you heal and come back to a sense of wholeness and a sense of belonging. And I like to look at it as first motivation, then identify what it is that's going on. What am I doing that's taking me out of the tone? Am I thinking too much when I'm playing? Am I wanting to be somewhere else instead of giving my full attention to the horn? Am I at a place where I'm worried about what people are thinking about me? And then you have to get to a point where you're desensitized, where you're not sensitive to what people say. If someone says, "Oh, will you be quiet? That sounds awful." You're going to get that. Even as you get better and better, people will come up to you and some will say, "Oh, that was so beautiful. I love that. Play more." And you might think, "Oh, I'm pretty good." And just then someone else will come up and say, "Will you be quiet? I'm trying to hear the birds." And you have to say, "Oh, okay," and know how to adjust, but never lay the horn down. Never stop your practice. It takes tremendous resolve to play this instrument as much as we have to stay in the tone. I play it every day, and I find that if I miss days, I move backwards. And it's why there are so few trumpet players or brass players, because it's a full body instrument. It takes the whole body, and it takes moving out of the mind and thinking into the body to get to that place of surrender into the horn. And that's the place that touches most people. So I don't want to push you on this. This has to come from you. I would say that dedicating yourself 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, is necessary to get you to a point where you're understanding more of what I'm talking about. This can't be done just once a week. The muscles, the breathing experience, it doesn't give you the momentum, and that's what this is all about, is momentum. You're building energy, depth, and experience with the instrument each time that you pick it up. And every time you lay it down and leave it down, you lose energy. So the momentum is going the opposite way. B.B. King was one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and he played over 300 nights a year. So you can imagine how many times his fingers touched the guitar string. And when people would hear him just play a note, they'd say, "Oh, that's B.B." And they would say, "Well, I want to be able to do that too." But he has the memory and the history of doing that millions and millions of times. So each time he touches it, it just goes deeper. It went deeper and deeper. So it was very distinctive. And that's the way our great trumpet players were too. If you listen to the tone and the quality of Miles Davis or Roy Hargrove or Chet Baker, the tone they have is remarkable. So it's always good to listen to other trumpet players too and know, wow, they've got something very unique. And each time you hear the way they blow the horn, put air to the horn, you recognize them immediately. It's so unique. And Declan, you have that. You started doing that when you're 2 years old. So when you have that experience and that sense of what happens with a horn, uh, it's a wonderful thing, advantage that you have over other people who don't know about how important the cushion is, how important fit is, how important the having the correct embouchure is. There's so many things. Just when you recognize you're just providing this steady airflow into the instrument. So I hope this helps support you as you pick this up if I'm not with you while you're doing it.